the Battle of the Beccas, Rebecca against Becca, and I think Becca was very upset and offended by that, so maybe she's going to be more angry and upset and unhinged than she is used to. But I think she is just obsessed with her embarrassment at the hands of Shannon Levangie a few weeks ago, because she came out here, she had a guitar, she was making Rich, poor Rich, hold that microphone for her. And in the end, it was Shannon Levangie embarrassing her, so I think she has been obsessed about that ever since.
Rebecca Scott, not unfamiliar to the waiting room, Worcester, Massachusetts, competing a few times for WWR Plus, but making her Wrestling Open debut against the international pop star sensation. What do we want to call her, Paul?
We want to call her a good athlete, a great competitor.
Pain in the keister, well, as Rebecca Scott almost gets tossed to the hardwood on the outside, able to catch herself. And Becca seems pretty proud of her handiwork. Maybe a little bit disappointed that Rebecca Scott didn't falter her demise.
Rebecca Scott now going to that top rope. Lands on her feet. Here comes Becca.
Becca was covered up. Rebecca Scott stopped herself and instead just palm facing the international pop sensation.
Rebecca Scott is a very, very tough person. Also trains in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I know that if the match goes to the mat, Becca could be in a lot of trouble here. As Rebecca Scott now, you saw that Becca does the small little things, grabbing the hair just ever so briefly to pull Rebecca Scott's head backwards. It's all those little things, the pebbles on the scale, that add up, and that is why Becca has had great success.
Well, I was going to say, Becca, her demeanor may be unorthodox, but her style inside of the ring certainly is not. Well-trained, well-execution, and right now, just a straightforward approach, striking and throwing her opponent pillar to post. Scott, the smaller competitor, looking for that monkey flip, and that's what you're going to do. Get underneath your opponent, use your legs to toss him around the ring.
Nice kick there, and again, she is really laying in on these strikes. Oh, well, when you talk trash, sometimes you pay for it. Hooks the leg. Count of two, but I think, DC, the word you're looking for, or the words you're looking for to describe Becca is all-encompassing, whether it's her professional wrestling career, whether it's her pop endeavors, it is all-encompassing.
Well, her relationship with Alan Price, that certainly got her out of her shell. I wish we could put her back in. Maybe send her to the bottom of the ocean. Right there, she was sending Rebecca Scott overhead with a German suplex, all impact, no bridge.
And you see now Becca in her mode. When she has an opponent down, she doesn't get flustered, she doesn't rush, she doesn't wear herself out. She takes her time to cause maximum damage. And I think that's as much a part as viciousness and ego as it is a sound gameplay.
Sure, but we know that Becca has great fundamentals, great training behind her. And the same can be said for Rebecca Scott, another one of those competitors training alongside Damian Adams.
And Rebecca Scott, the word I use to describe her is hope. I mean, she was a flight attendant from a young age, left school to go travel the world and really discover who she is. And she has definitely found that. It's continuing to break out in independent wrestling. But let's see if the sky is truly the limit for her here tonight.
Well, Becca has certainly found herself in the ring. Let's see if Rebecca Scott can find herself, at least find her bearings, able to avoid contact in the corner. And now, a big retaliation with the forearms and boots. What a flurry from Scott.
She has some hope now for sure. And speaking of pulling somebody back into that corner, just like Becca did to her earlier, Rebecca Scott now giving her a taste of her own medicine.
Well, the official breaking up Scott's momentum, giving her a 5 count to work with in the corner. Rebecca Scott, a law-abiding citizen, not getting disqualified, and instead, big backdrop suplex. We're back to square one, and just a second away from Becca beating Rebecca Scott.
Only a count of 2, said referee Bill Thompson, and now that obsession with embarrassment, that is continuing to build here, because as she cannot put Rebecca Scott away, I have a feeling that ego is going to start playing into that embarrassment that she feels.
Sure, and obviously Shannon Levangie in the back of her mind, plus we know this Sunday she's going to be teaming alongside Aaron Rourke against Janai Kai and Yoya. Janai Kai has had her run-ins with Becca in various promotions up and down the East Coast. but she should not be looking past Rebecca Scott, but not really taking her too seriously. Good impact on that suplex and seems to be more content to put on a performance than to get the win, Paul.
Calling Rebecca Scott a loser there by putting the L across the forehead. Rebecca Scott certainly is not that. There is a lot of hope to who she is, looking to take to the sky, because the sky is the limit for her abilities. But with someone like Becca, who has had so much experience in a short amount of time, it could be too overwhelming.
5 minutes have elapsed in the time limit. 5 minutes remain.
Becca misses wildly. Rebecca Scott was looking for a flying head scissors. Just too much power. Reversed with a pendulum-style backbreaker.
Kick out by Rebecca Scott, and there is life still inside of Rebecca Scott. Can she continue this comeback here against the international pop star?
Surprised to see Becca has her own smattering of fans here in Worcester, though. But look at this.
There's that ground game that I talked about, going for the knee bar here. Becca has her left leg in a position to at least take a little bit of the pressure off of it.
I was going to say that if Rebecca Scott had full application, Becca would be tapping out instantly. And there you see Becca using those kicks. Rebecca Scott holding on for dear life, but forced to give up the hold. And now just slamming her head into the mat like a basketball. Handful of hair. I don't think that Becca cares if she gets disqualified.
That is that obsession, that ego. How dare you try to make me submit? How dare you make me try to give it up? As Becca able to get out of that hold with just straight up kicks to the head.
Taking her time once again. Becca has become meticulous the way that she paces her matches. Really likes to talk that trash, as you would said. Sometimes it comes back to haunt you, but now maybe looking for a submission of her own, Paul?
Maybe. Going for an old-fashioned sleeper hold here. Doesn't have the legs wrapped around the midsection, so it makes it a little bit harder, but this is definitely a way to make it hurt, DC.
Oh, just swinging her around.
As Becca now has Rebecca Scott. Shannon Levange's right here.
She's got a wristband. She grabbed a chair. There's plenty of chairs, Shannon. There's chairs.
Does she have popcorn? What, Shannon Levange is here at ringside. She has the wristband for it.
Well, maybe she paid $30 for that seat. I don't know. I'll have to go check shop IWTV.
She has some popcorn here as well. And I think Becca just realized that Shannon is here at ringside.
She could have signed up to wrestle this week if she wanted to, Paul.
Could have, but maybe living up to the moniker Troublemaker, wanting to make some waves and make Becca regret that berating that she was on the receiving end of.
Well, meantime, back in the ring, Rebecca Scott is up, and a big kick levels Becca.
And Scott is back to her feet, off the ropes, into a knee.
A knee to the temple, and another.
Tries a drop kick, hits it. Is that it? Do we have an upset? No. Out at 2 is Becca, but man, Rebecca Scott with those double temple shots back and forth. Oh,
gets tripped up in the ropes. I gotta say though, if she was able to pick up the win, you'd have to give the assist to Shannon Levange. And now the stakes being raised. Just a straight knee to the back of the head, Paul. That is knockout city. As Becca's still trying to shake the cobwebs, favoring her own head. Handful of hair. Sight set on Shannon Levange, looking for a pile driver.
No, rips through, makes the cover. Only a count of 1.
Unable to get full application of that jackknife, and she paid the price. A super kick to the back of the head. And Becca ain't done.
There's a forearm shot as Rebecca Scott is really testing Becca here in this match.
These two have been laying into each other. This is one of the most physical matches I can remember here at Wrestling Open.
Right to the face.
A heel between the eyeballs. And now Becca, she's still not done. I mean, now you're going to think that with Shannon Levange ringside, she's absolutely using her opponent to make a statement.
Kick
but
to the chin.
The longer you play with your food, the better chance it can come back to bite you, huh?
There is the sleeper hold. It is locked in.
Oh, this one could go the distance. All matches with a 10-minute time limit. But the Snapmare sends Rebecca Scott crashing to the mat. And Rebecca Scott sending Becca face first to the mat. Can she get the pin before the bell? 1, 2.
No. As here we go. Rebecca Scott going up top.
Rebecca Scott having trouble finding her footing. Is Becca going to be able to seal the deal, or are we going to see a time limit draw? Face first into that top turnbuckle.
Here we go. Becca now looking outside.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Oh! Rebecca Scott with the victory.
9 minutes and 59 seconds. Here is your winner, Rebecca Scott.
And you have to give a little assist here to Shannon Levangie because I think Becca was more focused on Shannon on the outside.
I can't believe what we just saw, and it seems Shannon Levangie celebrating with a little bit of popcorn.
Oh!
All right.
Oh, come on. That was absolutely unnecessary.
Right in front of us, Shannon going ass over tea kettle, getting knocked on the hardwood in front of us. I mean, you can't blame Becca. Who knows what effect Shannon Levangie's presence had in the match, but that's no way to deal with that. You can't just attack somebody.
Shannon, you're not a troublemaker. You're a pain in this pop star's ass. You wanted me one-on-one? If you're sure that's what you really want, then you got it.
Becca saying to Shannon Levangie, you want a one-on-one match with me? You got it after causing that trouble because DC, I think Shannon was in Becca's head and that just cost her the matchup here.
Well, maybe getting dumped on the floor was a small price to pay to ultimately get what we want, another shot.